They might have denied the Super Eagles of Nigeria 3 AFCON titles in 1984, 1988, and in 2000. But the Super Eagles of Nigeria always find a way to enact revenge in the knockout stages of the African Cup of Nations, just like it happened in 2019, where the Super Eagles ran out 3-2 winners. Ademola Lookman this time around was the man of the moment. A brace from the Atlanta forward ensured that the Super Eagles of Nigeria are through to the quarterfinals, where they'll take on Angola. With that, I welcome you to a brand new, beautiful edition of your favorite sports show, Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. I'm sure you had fun. I'm sure you're excited. I'm sure you savored all of the moments that went down in Ivory Coast as the Super Eagles of Nigeria once again answered the questions that were posed before them. And we have a lot to unpack on the show today. The AFCON will form the basis of our conversation on today's show. I'm not alone in the building. I have my friend Olumide Akombi James. I'll be bringing him right after we come back from this break. Don't forget, we have the Australian Open to talk about. And of course, in European football, Jurgen Klopp and Xavi Hernandez have said they will leave their respective clubs, Liverpool and Barcelona, at the end of the season. Welcome back. Edwin still in the building alongside Olumide Akombi James. Olumide, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Yeah, Edwin, I'm doing well. Good to be here once again.
Yeah, what was the highlight of your weekend? I'm sure the Super Eagles. Outside of the Super Eagles?
I think it has to be the final. The Australian Open final between Sinner and, of course, Medvedev. I was hoping that Medvedev would do something differently since, coming back from that 2 sets down, to win the semi-finals against Zverev. I already picked him to win the Australian Open, but Sinner had other ideas. And you have to respect Sinner also. We saw what he did at the end of last season. So I think he deserved to win the final.
All right, let's start with the African Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles of Nigeria once again proved their doubters wrong. And for some, it was the most impressive performance thus far.
Yeah, I agree with you. For everybody out there who have gone in that direction, you have to say that. We've seen 4 games from the Super Eagles and they gave everything. They played differently, respected the opposition, but then you could see what they were trying to do, which is that game was beyond tactics. It was about the players wanting to progress to the next round. There's the tag out there, that's the team for Nigeria, let's do it again. And they showed character. You could see it in the way they set out in that game against Cameroon. So I agree, that's the best game thus far. And I want to believe that it's still a work in progress because we can still see 1 or 2 lapses in that team. But I think they've improved. Every game you've seen them play, you've seen them do something differently. There's this upward slope, if I can use that word for them. And it's good for them. Let's see how it goes. I never believed in them that they were going to, get out of that group stage. I didn't see them beyond the round of 16, but hey, they are in the quarterfinals.
What has stood out most for you with the Super Eagles, especially in that particular game against Cameroon? For me, it was the defense, rock solid through Ekong, marshalling his defenders, Calvin Bassey, Semi Ajayi, the 2 wing backs, then the guys in front of them, especially Frank Onyeka, who gives them that protection. What other departments or outstanding qualities have you seen from the Super Eagles?
I love the partnership between Ademola Lookman and Victor Osimhen. Off the ball, you can see them, coming to help in midfield. They are the extra bodies in midfield. And when they are attacked in transition, you can see the 2 of them. There's this understanding between them, which is why Lookman was able to get that breeze. Osimhen is his distraction. And then Lookman knows exactly where to run into the channels. So I think for me, it's just the execution. Yes, you mentioned something that has been key for them in this tournament. Defensively, you look at that shape, they look rock solid. They are very difficult to break down. And, you have to give it to them. But I think for me, the execution between Lookman, that understanding between him and Osimhen, it was very, very key in that game.
How influential has Jose Peseiro been with the context of this competition? I know he doesn't have a lot of love from Nigerians, but seeing how far the Super Eagles have progressed and the fact that a side that had been leaky coming to the competition have been rock solid, how much of an improvement has he, or how influential has he been with this particular Super Eagles team at the AFCON? And do you think that the pressure of being away from the Nigerian media and focusing on the competition proper has helped?
Yeah, I said something when the whole media thing happened, that if that is what he wants, give it to him. Maybe he just needs some focus. He doesn't want any distraction. We know how we are in Nigeria. Everybody is out there to get a story. People want interviews from these players, and it can be a little messy. You need all your players to be on the same page. You want them to be able to execute what you have to do. I think we have to give credit to him. I didn't respect the man going to AFCON. I'm going to be honest. I've looked at the build-up to this AFCON, the qualifiers. Nothing convincing about that side. You mentioned something that was very obvious. We couldn't keep it tidy at the back. Every time we go into games, we'll concede. And you look at that and what is happening right now, you have my perspective about him in the context of the AFCON 2023. I think it's changed a bit. I think the man has shown that, hey, he knows his own onions when it comes to this game. He's been able to marshal the defense. It's not just about the players. You know, when you look at players like Shemi Ajayi, Calvin Bassey, and of course standing captain in Truce Ekong, you can see how they have pushed themselves. They've given more, that extra that you need from a player, the passion, knowing that you are representing a lot of people. You're playing for your country, and that has to be key. You've seen that. But beyond that, the way he has set up the defense, because we know in midfield, we are light. You don't have Ndidi. You don't really have creative spark. The way he's been able to, put in bodies in there to be able to protect the defense line, I think it's been very key. So he's been very influential. He's the manager, and we have to give him the credit, because when he wasn't working before the AFCON, everybody we're out with the sticks and when we're trying to. So right now, you have to give him the credit.
All right, we face Angola in the quarterfinals on Friday. What do the Super Eagles need to do against Angola to book their place in the semi-finals?
So the Angolans are very, very direct. They have 4 players that are very, very, very key to whatever they are going to do. You have to talk about the captain, you have to talk about the striker, you have to talk about the left back. These 3 guys are very, very, the execution from them, like I said, very direct. They play the balls long, diagonal, and they know exactly what they want to do. You can see the identity. For them, it's about being direct. It's about, pressing the opposition and getting your goals. Very clinical in front of goals. So I would love to see how the defensive shape. I don't know who is going to be playing. Maybe Shemi Ajayi and Truce Ekong. I want to see how they are going to stop the Angolan striker. That guy is technically gifted, and he is a goal poacher. Like you have said, they've scored so many goals in this side. They are very, very athletic. African football, you can see the African flair, and then you can also see a bit of technicality in their game. This side, they've been together for a while, so you can also see the understanding between these players. So I think for the Eagles to play against Angola, we have to win the midfield. That midfield battle, we need to win that midfield battle. And we need to convert our chances. We are not going to get a lot of chances against Angola like we've seen the Super Eagles, in the group stages and against Cameroon. Angola is not that open. They really have a solid defense also. So I think for us, execution has to be key. That collective effort should be there. That midfield battle, we have to win it. If we can do all of these things, I think we can get one past Angola, but it's not going to be easy against Angola.
Let me put you on the spot. Prediction.
Against Angola?
Yep.
So I'm looking at 1-0 Nigeria, maybe extra time.
All right, 1-0 extra time Nigeria. Yeah. We're rooting for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, like you guys did against Cameroon. Go out there, give your best, and ensure that 200 million Nigerians will smile home to their beds. Yes, that's the message to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Away from football briefly, let's touch on the Australian Open.
Okay.
Daniil Medvedev versus Yannick Sinner. It ended as his fifth loss for Yannick Sinner. It was his first Grand Slam singles final. And what a way to win your first singles final, coming from 2 sets down.
What a way to win. So he defeated Djokovic in the semi-final. And at that moment, I looked at that game, because the way he dispatched Djokovic was something very, very remarkable. The way he won. Djokovic won a set, but he was 2 sets ahead. Djokovic won the third one, and then he won the last set. Now, the first 2 sets he won, it was, I think, 6-3, 6-2, 6-3. Some, you know, you look at that and you know that this is a man that is prep up and shape up for this tournament. Now, I go back to last season where, you know, he got that award for the most improved player.
Yep.
The first Italian to get them to win the Davis Cup. If you look at his progression from last season and then you look at him in this Australian Open tournament, I think you have to give it to him. There are few people who can come back from the dead, because for me it was like Lazarus was dead and buried. He lost the first 2 sets, 6-3, 6-3. In the third set, it didn't even look like he was going to win it, but suddenly he just popped up and he won that 6-4, won the fourth set 6-4, and then in the fifth set, we saw what he did to Medvedev. I think that Medvedev should look at himself. You've been in Australia, you've been in Grand Slam finals, not once, not twice, not thrice. So it's expected that you bring your experience in that last set. But for Sinner, it's a good one for him. He has shown that. I think we are looking at Alcaraz. The 22-year-old Italian should be the man.
Yeah, all right, for Yannick Sinner, first Grand Slam singles title of his career. What a year we're going to have on our hands.
Yes.
Djokovic is not going anywhere. Alcaraz will be
sure
back.
About that?
Daniil Medvedev will still be around. For Medvedev, he went into the history books. The player with the most minutes on court at a Grand Slams event. Yeah, so not a bad way to lose
but that's not
the final. That's not what he wants. But he cheekily said it that, hey, I mean, in the history books, whatever you want to talk about, Daniil Medvedev will always be around. The Russian, 27 years, he still has a lot in his tank.
Yeah.
At this point, we'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll switch back to football. This time, talk about Jurgen Klopp and Xavi Hernandez. Both managers dropped the bomb over the weekend. Welcome back. It's still your favorite sports show, Sports Pizza. Edwin and Olumide in the building. Olu, let's talk some European football, and we'll start with Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. After 8.5 years, he's saying goodbye to Liverpool, a side he's won 6 major honors with a potential 4 more at the summit of the Premier League, in the next round of the FA Cup, the Europa League, and of course they have a League Cup final with Chelsea. Yeah. For Jurgen Klopp, in my opinion, the third most successful Liverpool manager after Billy Shankly and Bob Paisley. What does this mean for Liverpool? And do you think that Klopp leaving will see them go back to the pre-Klopp era, where they navigated between the top 4, the top 6, and sometimes failing to qualify for European football?
I think it's going to be very, very tricky. It's 50-50. Now, it's down to the decision they are going to make. Klopp is leaving. So you're not negotiating that. He's made his decision, he's made that announcement. So you are just waiting for who is next, who is going to pick up this job. And that's very key. You have to look at that template that he has created in these years that he's been at Liverpool. You need a manager that can look at that template and then work on that template and take it to the next level. So I think that whether they will go back, that's talking about them regressing or going on a progressive slide now. it's down to who they appoint as their next manager. For Klopp, I think he has done well, and I agree with you. Maybe the third best thing that has happened to Liverpool in this modern era, if you can put it that way, because the things that he has done, if not for Pep Guardiola, this guy should be talking about maybe 3 Premier League titles now, maybe 4th one. We don't know if he's going to win this one. So
Real Madrid denied him 2 Champions League titles.
Champions League titles. So you can see that there is no, you can't put question mark on his CV. He's really a good manager. I don't know why he's leaving, because when I heard
he said he doesn't have enough gas in his tank. Mentally, he's not in the right place to keep on pushing.
I don't understand what that means. A manager coming out to say that, I think he's just tired of being in the Premier League and having to, compete. Premier League is a very, very competitive league. It's very Maybe you can talk about the football played, but competition-wise, mentally, you have to be ready for what is coming. So maybe he's just tired of the league. But for me, I think it's very key who they appoint next. They have the crop of players they have right now. They have very, very, really good players. So you just need a manager that can take them to the next level, understand this template, and then just move on.
For his counterpart in Spain, Xavi Hernandez, he was much more bullish and brutal in his press conference, saying that this is not the right place to be. There are a lot of people who are trying to sabotage what he's done. He doesn't have the backing, blah, blah, blah. He won the league title with Barcelona last season for some, against all odds, judging by where Barcelona were at the point financially and whatnot. Do you think that this is the right decision for Xavi Hernandez? Maybe he could have waited to the end of the season, got some assurances from Joan Laporta, or maybe last season was a one-season wonder, quote-unquote, and he's out of depth. He's realized that he can't take this club further.
So I think for Xavi, first off, I think he needs to leave the job, really. And I'm not saying he needs to leave because he's not a good manager. So I think he's confused a bit. Now, when a manager is out there talking about how there are people who want to sabotage him, how there is no enough support, and then, he's just not comfortable with the work environment. I think he's talking about the board. It cannot be the supporters, it cannot be the fans, it can't be the neutral. So he's trying to give us a mental image of what is happening back end. So I think it's about them. So based on that, if you are in a work environment where things are not right, you have to move on for his own mental health, like they say these days. But I think that Xavi's issue is really that he's listening to the noise everywhere. Last season, you look at the way Barcelona played, and then you look at how they are playing this season. There are 2 different styles. Last season, it was very direct. He didn't care about flair or all of those things. Barcelona last season were result-oriented, which is why you saw them go on that run of 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. But this season, he's trying to play the Barcelona way, forgetting that this crop of players you have cannot really play that style. Why not find an identity that these guys can interpret, and then you get results? That's the confusion he's having in his head, listening. And I go back to what I said about back end. It must be that even back end, they don't like that style from last season. Yes, you won the league, but this is not Barcelona's identity. So for his own good and for his managerial career, because he's still really, really young on the job. So I think he should leave. Let Barcelona sort themselves out, and him can progress in his own career.
I'm talking about progress. Barcelona are not progressing on the field. They knocked out by Athletic Club Bilbao in the Copa del Rey, and over the weekend in an 8-goal thriller, lost to Villarreal. For Real Madrid, top of the summit, Girona also picked up an away win, keeping it close behind Real Madrid. Away from the Spanish La Liga, in the Italian Serie A, same Inter Milan continue their winning form. But Juventus dropped 2 points at home against Empoli. All right, away from the Italian Serie A, in England, there were no games in the league, but in the FA Cup, we had some interesting ties. Man City, for the first time going to the Tottenham Stadium, not only scored but also pick up their first win against Spurs.
Spurs, yeah.
Giant Killers Maidstone
Yeah.
through to the next round after they defeated championship side Ipswich. In some of the key fixtures in the next round, we have Bristol City or Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United, Luton Town versus Manchester City, it's Chelsea or Aston Villa versus Leeds or Plymouth Argyle. All right, so that's the much we can take on the show today. I hope you had fun with us. We'll be back same time next week. Remember to follow us on our social media platform at Sports Pizza on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and of course on the X platform. We'll leave you with our video of the day. Olu, it's great having you on the show today.
Yeah, good to be here, Edwin.
All right, do have fun until we see you same time. God bless you.